Hey guys, how are we? So it is Monday. My live day is supposed to be Tuesdays. Just kidding. That's my own little rule for myself. But I have a couple things I want to talk about. So first and foremost, you probably saw a bajillion posts if you follow my page about Ragnar this weekend. So when you guys jump on, give me a hello, give me a hi, tell me where you're watching from. But I just wanted to talk about what we did this weekend and why it was so cool and what I learned from it. So the Ragnar Relay is 12-person teams. It's a 200-mile race, so we're in Colorado. Hi guys. We ran from Copper Mountain. Well, our first van started in Copper Mountain, ran around Copper Mountain for like 45 miles, and then we started moving towards Aspen. So all in all, it's 200 miles. It took our team from 6:45 Saturday morning until about 6:02 on Saturday night. Okay, so the way it worked is a lot of people were like, well, how does it work? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. So basically the way it works is that there's two vans. There's 6 people, at least the way we did it. There's 6 people in one van and 6 people in the other. So for us, van 1, I was in van 2. So van 1 started at 6:45. One person gets out and runs, and the rest of the people hang out in the van. And you go and meet your runner at the next place. And then they had these cool little slap bracelets that I was really bad at first. So thank you, Christine. So these little slap bracelets that you pass it off and then they go run their leg. So the legs were anywhere from like 9.5 miles to 2.2 miles, whatever. So everybody in van 1 runs once, and then you hand off to van 2. Okay, so for us, van 1 ran till like 3:20 and then we took over. So everybody's legs are different. It was kind of based on like our 10K times and yada, 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 like preferences of what we like to do or didn't like to do or whatever. So then van 2 goes, you run your leg, you hand back off to van 1, back off to van 2. So there's three passes and 3 sets. So when you're not in the van that's running, we had some downtime. So it was like, 3 or 4 hours, try to recover, like try to not be stinky and sweaty, try to get comfortable in a van, like try to get some food, whatever. So for me personally, we started with a supposedly 7-mile leg, but I call bullshit on the 7-mile leg because like I know where halfway was and I didn't use my fitness pal and I should have tracked it, but there's no way it was 7 miles. Like it had to be at least 7.5 or 8, but whatever. Like it was a fun leg. I have not been running, you guys. Like life happened. I had this chest cold thing, whatever. Like I was not trained for this race. Whatever. I was like, first figure it out later. So did the first one. In the midst of my run, judging myself, comparing myself, beating myself up, and like just didn't start out in a good place. So the cool part is that I've been doing that Hunger for Happiness program, and a lot of what we're doing is like you are in charge of your experience, like observe your feelings, feel through them, like what is going on. And so I'm out there all by myself, and I was like, oh, let's do this. So I was like, stop comparing yourself. Who cares? Like, this was not a race. We were not trying to win. Like, we were not trying to be the fastest, like, people out there. So for me, I was like, stop, enjoy the scenery. Like, I was literally running, like, the bottom of Ale Pass, like, through the fucking $1 million houses in this amazing golf course. And that was at the 4-mile mark. And so I was like, okay, stop, enjoy, observe, like real life vision boarding, right? Like look at these houses, like that's what I want, right? Like what do I want from this? Sun was setting, and then it started to rain, but this like crazy, amazing, epic, slow, huge raindrops straight down, like coolest freaking run probably I could even imagine. Like it kind of gives me goosebumps thinking about it. So my head, before I started this, I was like, oh, it's all downhill. No, it's not all downhill. It's the mountains. It was a lot of up and down, and I don't like up. But anyway, when I stopped and actually was like, wow, this is freaking cool. Like, stop comparing, stop judging, stop worrying, stop wondering what your, like, pace is, whatever. Just look around and freaking enjoy this, right? And I did. And it was crazy because it was hot and the rain felt amazing, and I, like, ran through the village, and no one was around me. Like, I literally saw no other runners because I think a lot of people got lost in front of me or behind me, right? I mean, I saw bikers, I saw people in the village, but nobody around me. So I get back, and I'm like, awesome. Brandon's like, it was 67 minutes, and I was like, all right, that's not bad. And then my brain turned back on, right? Like, oh, judging, like, if I originally thought it was 8.5 miles, I was like, heck yeah, that's a great time. I'm super happy. And then they're like, no, it was only 7. And then I was like, oh, that's terrible. I'm a terrible person because I didn't run that fast. I don't know how far it was. I got over that. I felt awful afterwards, you guys. Great during it. Flipping awful. I didn't see any wildlife, Christine. How sad is that? I felt terrible, you guys. Like, I didn't eat enough because I can't eat much before I run. I was shaky. Like, by the time we got done, by the time our van finished, so I was the 9th runner. So after me, I passed off to Mike, who ran 7 miles in like 51 minutes, because that's who he is. It was freaking amazing. Who passed off to William, who passed off to Jimmy. So I think I got done at like 7. By the time we passed off, it was like 9. I literally got in the van, got like goosebumps because I was probably dehydrated, like frozen, nauseous. Like, I was in a bad way. Finally went and got some food, and Brandon was like, you've got to eat. Like, you've got to get some food in you. Like, you need to get hydrated. So I had some water, and then I had pickles. We went to a restaurant, and I had pickles. So I had like a chicken sandwich and pickles, and I was like stealing everyone's pickles. So clearly my sodium intake was real bad. So got that in my system, literally my mind, like, not living in the moment, not whatever. Like, I'm thinking through, I'm like, I can't, like, my next leg was 8 miles. I was like, I can't run. I can't run another 8 miles in like 6 hours. There's no flipping way. Like, literally, I was so scared. So managed to eat, felt a little more human. Tried to rest, like, all of us trying to sleep in a van or like on a like gymnasium floor because they let you like into schools. Didn't sleep, like laid there for an hour and a half maybe. They woke us up because they kicked half our team out of the gymnasium. They're like, gotta move on. And so we moved on. Our first runner started running at I think about 2. And then I took off again at 4. So the coolest part of the weekend, honestly, was the support of my amazing husband. So our team was amazing, and I'm not going to downplay that at all, so don't take it like that. But so running at 4 a.m., I was running into Glenwood, so like by the highways where they split, like right by the water, whatever. And everybody was talking about Van One, was like, oh my God, all the stuff I heard, there's bears, there's yada, yada, yada. I'm like, cool, because that's what I want to do at 4 a.m. But I'm pretty awake at 4 a.m., so that was good. So by 4 a.m. I was like, I've kind of recovered, but my knees hurt, like joints, tendons. Like, that's the problem with not running much, is that like your body's not ready. So you could have a pacer. And so jokingly, I was like, Brandon, you should run with me. And because he's amazing, he's like, yeah, I totally will. Which then he can protect me from wildlife, talk me out of my own freaking head when I'm being who I am sometimes. And it was just more fun. So he ran with me, ran the 8 miles, like totally not prepared. We went, tried to buy him a shirt because it was cold. It was like 47. And so he ran the whole thing with me, and I had my moments of like, this is terrible. This is like, my knees were just not happy. Like, I just haven't run that much. And his thing, like, you're 1 foot, you're 1 step ahead, blah, blah. There was one point that I was like, I love your positivity, but knock it off. Like, I just want to be negative. And it's like, why? Where's that getting me? So finally I decided it was going to take me X amount of time. And so when I started looking at my phone and realizing, like, this is an AMRAP now, right? Like, this is, I'm going to be done by this time at the very latest, right? Then I was like, oh, it's 15 more minutes, 20 more minutes, whatever. Settled into it, started to appreciate it, like, started to actually be like, this is so cool what your body can do, right? And so we finished it. It was slow. It was like hour and 20 minutes. And I think about it, probably running like an 8:30 pace, but there was definitely walking in there, and it was so funny because my body would just start walking. And I was like, what's that? Like, I'm not walking. Like, I was not telling myself to walk, but all of a sudden I was walking. So anyway, super cool. So we got done at 5:20. Mike took off, ran 2.7 miles in 15 minutes. And he was like, I'm just going to enjoy this one. It was awesome. Handbag off. We get breakfast. Or no, we went to get coffee. So I still hadn't slept. We met up with the other man, and they had some time because Elise had a long run. And we're like, okay, we can all go get coffee together. So we handed off, and we went down. We're in Glenwood now. So we're in Glenwood. So we went down to get coffee. I legit fell asleep in the van in like 30 seconds. We get to coffee, and Brandon's like, this is your idea, you have to wake up. So went in, got Starbucks, came back out, fell asleep in the van. Like, Mike, Brandon, and I passed out. Everybody else had gotten some sleep, so they were like doing their thing, whatever. Went in, took like a random sort of body shower, like head shower. It was just weird. I didn't have a towel, so we had like these big body wipe things. Put on clean clothes, went and got some breakfast, and I was like, okay, I feel good. Got a 3-mile leg at the end, like no big deal, it'll be fine. And my body was feeling pretty good. Like, I was kind of surprised. So we, my third leg was 3.3 miles. And I'm like, that's fine. And of course, Brandon's like, yeah, I'll run with you. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we get out there. It is, I don't know, 88 degrees, which doesn't seem that bad, except when you're 9,000 feet, that sun is freaking hot. Like, crazy hot. There was no shade. And our 3.3 miles was this just slight incline. Like, we're not talking on run up the mountain, just enough of this, which is my personal hell. Like, I hate running uphill. Like, I'd rather run really uphill, but not like this gradual incline. And so I was a hot mess. Like, it was so hot. I was dehydrated. I had goosebumps, which I know means I'm dehydrated. Like, in my head, I was like, why is it so hard? This is so terrible. Why is it so hard? It took us forever. And this is after we went to the wrong exchange point and, like, left Jessa. And she had to run backwards from where we were going to meet me so we could run back up. Anyway, it was a dumb exchange. Anyway, it took forever. It was awful. Brain was, again, super supportive, super amazing, whatever. Got done. Mike took off to run this crazy 9.5 mile race, and it was insane. Like, girl passed out, heat stroke, like, it was crazy. Mike crushed it. So, get in the van, and what's funny is, like, what you learn from that, right? Jessa was like, I'm going to walk across to the gas station and get some food and get something to drink, whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And so I was in this, like, I'm just going to listen to my body. Like, what do I feel like I need right now? Definitely I need enough, not drink enough. So my body wanted water, V8, which makes me think I was pretty mineral deprived. And then Fresca. Like, when I get really, really, like, depleted, I crave, like, diet soda, which is weird because I don't really drink diet soda anymore. So anyway, I got those things. Just had Starburst. I was, like, having V8 and Starburst, and I had, like, this kale drink that I mixed it with. It was just funny, right? So anyway, you're done, and you're judging yourself, but you're happy, and you're just excited about your team, and, like, it was just cool. Like, super cool experience. By the time Jimmy finished, I was super hangry. Like, angry, hungry, proud, all those things. So we ate food, and then you're in Snowmass, right? And it is, like, 2.5 hours back to Copper, or back to Dillon where we were staying. So we get in the car, and I am the worst traveler ever, right? Ever. So Brandon had to drive because he was technically our driver, even though he did all that running. And so I was like, all right, guys, I'll, like, take one for the team and start up front. Tried to get Starbucks. All the Starbucks were closed. And so we ended up driving all the way back home, and I stayed awake the whole time, which was, like, a huge victory for me. But what was cool is everybody fell asleep, I think, or maybe they heard our conversations, but I got to have these really cool conversations with Brandon about life and things, and just, it was just cool. And then we got to Copper, and we're like, you know what, we're this close, like, we should just drive home. Because we could not walk. Like, none of us could walk. Well, Mike probably could, but the rest of us were, like, hobbling, wrecked, whatever. And I was like, I don't want to get back in the car tomorrow morning and drive home. So we drove all the way home. Brandon's mom was with our kids, so she, like, snuck us in, and we got to go to sleep and whatever, and got up, and, like, I was fine. It was crazy. 7 hours of sleep, I was fine. So the things I wanted to share was, just people like, how does Ragnar work? So that's how Ragnar worked. But the cool thing for me was, observing, like, what's going on in your life. And I'm sorry, this is really long. But, like, on an athlete side, your body can do shit that you never thought it could if you ask it to, okay? And today's Monday. I went back to the gym, did 5 rounds of 15 bodyweight deadlifts and 25 med ball cleans. So, like, essentially 125 squats and 75 deadlifts. And less than 30 hours ago, I couldn't walk. So, anyway, my point of this is your body will do things that you, if you ask it to. Secondly, everything is more fun with friends. Like, it was so cool to watch everybody else and see their experiences. And, like, William, I love you. And this was the best part of the weekend, was that if you pass somebody, it was called a kill. And William, who would have never thought he was a runner, never thought he could do this, like, came flying across the first finish line, like, passes this girl at the, at the handoff, and he's like, I got 4 kills. And, like, it was just the smiles, right? And I realized, too, that, like, as the owner of the gym, like, yes, we're the owner, but, like, all these people are my amazing friends, but, like, I'm totally that gym mom. Like, I'll get all teared up, like, oh, they did so good, I'm so proud of them. Like, it was so, like, I literally had to walk away a couple times because I was like, people are going to laugh at me because I'm so, like, teary-eyed and proud of everyone else. And, like, yeah, I'm always, like, it's cool to do stuff for yourself, but it's so cool to see people that you love and that you know have worked their butts off go do something. Like, it was so freaking cool. So anyway, so there's that. The other part was, like, if you don't think that sleep is important, try not to sleep for 36 hours and see how your body feels, and then go sleep. So, like, that for me was just, like, a huge, like, I know how important sleep is, but, like, just living it, like, I couldn't walk up my stairs when we got home. 7 hours later, I was fine. Like, my feet were a little bit sore, but, like, totally fine. So the cool thing was, like, it was harder than I thought, so much harder than I thought. Your body will do things that if you just ask it, it will, right? If you believe in yourself, that's 100% of it, right? Like, just believe in yourself, go do things. Like, find something that scares you or makes you nervous and just go sign up for it. Like, who cares how it goes? Just go do it, because at the end you will be so much happier. If you can do something with friends, do it with friends. Eat, sleep, and recover, because that's super important. So that's what I have. Just stuff I want to talk about. So thank you guys for listening, jumping on. Congrats to my team. It was amazing. We're talking about doing Napa next year. I think Ragnar and Napa would be awesome. So anyway, yeah, hope you're all well. I'd love to hear any comments, feedback. Tell me if you're done with Ragnar. I know Monica, you were up there this weekend, so I didn't get to talk to you. But anyway, love you guys. Hope you had a good weekend.